going to kick off this final panel of the day to explore the SBA resources that are available to help us as small business owners to thrive here in the county. And so again, my name is Taylor-Leonard. I'm the CEO of Taylor-Leonard Corporation based in Gaithersburg, and I have the pleasure of kicking off this panel with some quick introductions. So first we have Walt Abbott. Walt has been a volunteer for Service Corps of Retired Executives, or we all know that as SCORE, for 8 years, serving as a mentor to 50-plus small and startup businesses. Currently, Walt is director of the SCORE DC Speakers Bureau, where he's responsible for providing speakers who put on workshops, provide informational discussions, and give speeches about SCORE. Up until 2009, Walt worked as a risk management and insurance consultant at his own firm, Abbott Business Insurance Consulting. Prior to starting that company, Walt worked for 40 years as an executive for several international insurance brokerage firms, assisting Fortune 500 corporations with their risk management needs. Next to him is Sandra Barrett. Sandra Barrett. Sandra has been with the U.S. Small Business Administration for 6 years and currently serves as the Supervisory Business Opportunity Specialist of 8A Business Development in the Washington Metropolitan District Office. She's responsible for management, oversight, and leadership as it relates to SBA's 8A Business Development and Services. Prior to this, Sandra served as the Public Informational Officer for Washington, D.C., or the District Office. Also with SBA is Marium. Marium is a lender relationship specialist in the DC Metro Area District Office. Marium has 6 years of small business capital access experience and is a graduate of California University, State University. And next to her is Nicole Eickhoff, who is a bilingual business counselor for the Maryland Women Business Center, where she counsels and trains women entrepreneurs in one-on-one sessions and business courses, provides business plan analysis, revision of financial statements, marketing strategy development, certification applications, loan preparation, and business licensing guidance, in addition to many other services. She does it all, essentially. Nicole has served as coach, trainer, and mentor for a variety of diverse groups in several countries for over 9 years before returning to the DC area. Her experience in Spain and in France has enhanced her language skills and knowledge of international business as she reaches out to women in this capital area. And then lastly, we have Shuraie Mackin. Shuraie is an economic development specialist for the SBA's Washington Metropolitan Area District Office. As an economic development specialist, Shuraie services Northern Virginia, D.C., Prince George's, and Montgomery counties and provides marketing and outreach to the small business community, local groups, organizations, and associations. In addition, she helps build and maintain collaborative alliances and partnerships with resource partners like Montgomery Community Media today and small business owners, furthering the SBA's mission. Shuraie also serves as the project coordinator for Washington, D.C. Small Business Development Center and District Office technical representative for the SBA's Springfield Women Business Center. So welcome, panelists. So I am going to kick off this discussion with a question to our SBA folks here. There was a recent announcement not too long ago from SBA that sort of changed or amended the definition of small business. Can you describe sort of what that means to the small business owners that are in the room today?
To basically give you an idea, when SBA looks at small businesses, it's generally determined by the number of employees or even the revenue. So currently, as a general rule, we have, if you have a retail business and if your sales are below 7 million, if you have a service business, if your sales are below 4.5 million, construction 7 million, for also for manufacturing, if you have under 1,500 employees, and for agriculture, if you have below 450,000. Now, what SBA has decided that, hey, we want to be able to include more businesses as a small business. So as of July the 14th, we are increasing that number. So let's just say you don't fall within the general size standards that I just mentioned. We ask that you go on and look into your National North American Industrial Classification Systems and your individual NAT codes, and that will show a large amount of qualification that you may qualify for. So under the new guidelines that Kelly was speaking of, we're looking to include over 8,000 businesses, which weren't small business, which will now be small business, and it will allow them to apply for more things under our 8A program, under our loan program, and different services that we provide that will be opened up to more small businesses.
Awesome. And Shuraie, you just mentioned the 8A program, and in a previous session, we had an opportunity to learn a little bit more about the 8A program, but for the sake of those who maybe missed that discussion, a question specific to that: what is the 8A Business Development Program, and then what are the program benefits, and then how do we go about completing that application process?
Well, basically, the 8A program is an assistance program to assist small businesses to actually compete in the marketplace. Based on the statute, the law states that certain individuals are already presumed to be socially and economic disadvantaged, and those would be African Americans, we have Hispanic, we have Asians, and those are the groups. However, if you're not under one of those groups, you're still able to get into the program based on different other criteria. And that's basically the program. The benefits of the program consist of, one, you will have a business opportunity specialist. This is what I actually do my day-to-day. You have someone that will guide you for 9 years to assist you with different areas of government contracting. Another benefit is you're able to get sole source contracts, which are $4 million for services and goods. And if it's manufacturing, you also, you'll be able to get them a 6.5. Another benefit is the mentor, protege, and joint ventures. Joint ventures basically allowed you, if you're not able to compete at a level with a larger prime, you're able to go and do a teaming agreement with a prime, and they'll be able to assist you with different expertise that you don't have. And with the mentor protege program, you actually have a mentor that assists you to give you guidance and skills as far as where you're lacking those. So for instance, if you are an IT company and you do not have any experience as far as how to, let's say, create cloud computing and you're trying to find opportunities, this is what your mentor is going to do. They're actually going to guide you and assist you and kind of help you to move you forward so you are able to compete by the time you do leave the 8A program. So those are the benefits. There are more benefits to the 8A program, but those are the majority ones that I actually mentioned. It kind of brings a lot of small businesses, as you all, to come into the program. But it's a wonderful program, and it's for 9 years. And in those 9 years, we're there to assist you. And we also have the back of the resource centers there assist you, where the SBA cannot go out there to give you all the guidance that you need. So basically, I encourage everyone to actually look into it. And how do you apply? You can actually apply. I have 2 wonderful friends over here, Walt and Nicole, that will assist you with those, and they will probably chime in as to how you can apply to the 8A program and what they actually do when it comes to a small business coming to them and need assistance on the 8A program.
And so you bring up a good point, and maybe Walt and Nicole, maybe you can expand upon this. So a previous question that we have, and one that I hear oftentimes as you're networking and in the marketplace, you hear about people who will, you can pay them to do your application or your certification for you. And so there's always this question as to, okay, do I pay someone? Or it seems like by the time I pay someone, I could have done this myself. And so how can someone work with a either free or low cost resource in order to navigate that process?
Nicole, I'll let you go.
Sure. So one of the most important things that we do at the Maryland Women's Business Center and Women's Business Centers in general is to help you walk through these SBA pieces. So not only is it the 8A program that will help you walk through, but also the Women-Owned Small Business Program, and will also help you to understand the general guidelines around the service-disabled veteran programs. There are pieces of paperwork that you have to do, and we walk you through those pieces. So what does small mean? We help you learn what a NAICS code is, the code that Shuraie was talking about earlier. And we also help you for example, in the 8A program, there's a narrative that is required. We will help you to write that and make that coherent. And one of the things that it's important to remember as a small business owner is that we're not a paid program, so we're not going to do it for you, right? We're there to assist you, to walk you through that paperwork so that you understand all of the things that you need to gather. For example, to go for any program, you actually have to first be registered in sam.gov. And we can help walk you through the process of getting registered in that online portal and learning what your DUNS number is and getting your information up on that portal. After that, then we walk you through whether or not you actually qualify. So we work on a decision tree to say, okay, well, do you really want to apply for the 8A program right now? This is one of the most important things that your business counselor can do for you, because the 8A program, like she mentioned, is only 9 years. 9 years sounds like a long time when you're just starting out in business, and people say, okay, well, I'm going to go for the 2-year waiver, which means that if I haven't been in business for a full 2 years, that I'm going to go ahead and get a waiver for that. Some businesses qualify for that waiver, and that's great, but if you're not ready to get a contract tomorrow, you're wasting time in the program. And a lot of businesses actually graduate the 8A program without ever winning a contract as an 8A firm. So we help you to make that decision. Is 8A right for me right now? Is the Women-Owned Small Business Program going to work for me? Does my NAICS code fit into some of the categories that are actually going to allow me to use the set-aside program? So we also help you to filter the work that you're about to do. So when you're about to go and start doing work in the government contracting space, specifically with certifications, it is very important to not spin your wheels and keep having to go backwards and, oh, what's a DUNS number? I have to go back and get that. So that's what we're there for.
Nicole, how much do you charge?
I charge $0,
There
and
you
the
go.
Maryland Women's Business Center charges $0.
The same goes with SCORE. SCORE is a resource partner with the Small Business Administration. We're celebrating our 50th anniversary, and the reason that I'm the head of the Speakers Bureau is because nobody knows about SCORE, and we don't have any funding for advertising. We also charge nothing for the mentoring that we provide to the small business community. And we have offices throughout the greater Washington area, in Montgomery County and Prince George's, Fairfax, Arlington, as well as in DC. But we have offices all over the country as well. We have 370 offices in most of the major locations and 13,000 volunteers altogether. So we're well we provide assistance, we provide mentoring, and there is no limit on the amount of time that any one person could work with us. I have one client that I've had for about 8 years, and the questions have changed, obviously, but the fact that we've been working together for that long does not preclude them from continuing to get assistance from the SCORE operation.
So Walt, along those lines, you mentioned SCORE being a resource partner, providing mentoring, assistance. So let's say I'm a small business owner and I reach out to SCORE. I assume that I would find like a local representative. Mm-hmm. How would I do that?
We have a website called washingtondc.score.org, and within that there are locations where all of our various offices are. In order to set up a mentoring session, you would call the phone number that is listed in that particular area, whether you're looking for DC or for Montgomery County or for some other area. You would set up an appointment with a mentor, and you would spend an hour sitting down with that person, explaining primarily what your issues are, what your passion is, what your focus is, and then what are your questions. And we would listen primarily and then provide input onto areas that we feel you might be overlooking or where you might need assistance. So the philosophy of SCORE is that each of us, most of us, let's say, are retired, As you indicated, Kelly, I've been in the insurance business for 40 years, so I've been in the business longer than most of you have been around. But having said that, I've had an awful lot of experience in working with businesses of all kinds, so it provides me with an opportunity to help you all avoid the mistakes that I've made.
So I call the number, I schedule an appointment. Generally, am I going to be required to have certain information, like that you only want to talk to me if I have a business plan, or what do I need to have? Are there minimal requirements that I need to have as, you know, to make sure that I'm a legitimate sort of business in order to get some of your time or to earn some of your time?
We have no obligation, no requirements at all. If someone shows up, we have a lot of people that just walk in to our DC office. The rest of the offices are much tighter scheduled, but our DC office has mentors there 5 days a week. So there is no requirement, there is no standard. We take people who, in many cases, have just either lost their jobs or retired and are interested in starting a business, and they have little or no idea of exactly what they want to do. So we take people who have had and have existing businesses to people that are just thinking about the possibilities.
Awesome.
And also, you may also get a direct referral from one of the small business resource centers or a women's business center that takes you directly to a SCORE counselor in particular. We as counselors do counseling, and SCORE mentors as mentors do mentoring because they do something slightly different from what we do. Oftentimes they will have particular expertise. So say, for example, you come to me and you want to start an insurance company, I'm actually going to refer you to Walt after we walk through a couple of pieces together, and I can work on your general business plan, but your mentoring in insurance, in that particular industry, I don't have that experience, Walt does. So that's also one thing that SBA does, is we coordinate amongst ourselves so that we can best serve all of the entrepreneurs that come to us.
CID Bioscience is moving forward to become the leading exporter of digital plant research technologies. Using programs provided by the United States Small Business Administration, CID Bioscience isn't just exporting to other countries. No. The CI-203 laser-to-leaf area meter was even exported to outer space, the International Space Station, that is. SBA assistance such as the SBIR, STTR, Ex-Im Bank, loans, SCORE, SBDC, and export assistance have helped CID Bioscience grow, manufacture, and export the technological standards and scientific plant research worldwide.
Partnering with the SBA, CID was able to take advantage of many of the useful programs they offer. Using the SBA services, we were able to increase our exports to account for almost 85% of our total revenue.
According to Science distributes their innovative technology for research markets in China, India, Brazil, Mexico, Canada, and beyond. Furthermore, CID is constantly expanding their horizons into the future by using something they call the Internet. It's just that easy. Go to www.sba.gov where you can find the tools you need to get your exportation program going. When you partner with the SBA, you can shoot for the moon.
The U.S. Commercial Service, through their Gold Key program, was a tremendous help in developing a number of our overseas markets.
According to the Small Business Administration website, 96% of the world's consumers live outside the United States and represent 2/3 of the world's purchasing power. U.S. companies that export enjoy business success with increased sales and profit potential. Exporting also helps businesses weather downturns in a domestic economy by being prepared to respond to foreign competition and global market trends.
The SBTC, the Small Business Development Center, helped us initially in identifying a business that would be appropriate for us, and then developing a business plan so that we can grow that business and obtain the appropriate financing to acquire the business initially. It was a tremendous benefit, and we still go back to SBDC whenever we need advice on anything strategic relative to the business.
Ingenuity and innovation have distinguished CID as a worldwide leader in plant analysis for over 25 years. For their exporting efforts, CID has been recognized with awards from the Small Business Administration for Exporter of the Year, Region 10, World Trade Center Association Globe Award for Exporter of the Year 2011. And as such, they've been requested to speak at multiple Department of Commerce meetings, giving advice on exporting worldwide.
You too can enlist a powerful partner by visiting www.sba.gov. That's my exporting story. Where will your next customer come from?
Wonderful. Let's shift gears a bit and talk about money and finance. So if I am a veteran or a service disabled vet type company, what are the best ways for me to identify money in order to finance my business? So that's part one. And then does the VA, for example, do they provide any sort of business loans or things like that to help me to get started?
As far as the VA goes, you would have to obviously contact somebody at the VA offices to see what their specific loan programs are. The SBA has historically had a loan specifically designated toward veteran-owned businesses called the Patriot Express program. That expired as of the end of 2013, and the SBA actually launched a new initiative, I believe, on Veterans Day of 2013. It's for any veteran-owned business that is going under the SBA Express program. And what the basic guidelines of the SBA Express program is that it's a $350,000 loan limit. It's a more expedited process, hence SBA Express. And lenders pretty much use their own paperwork. The lender pretty much makes all the decision-making process in-house as opposed to having to go through back and forth with SBA. So if a veteran-owned business, and we would define veteran-owned business as a current active duty military member who is in the transition of coming back into civilian life, their spouse or their family members, if they qualify under the SBA Express program, up to $350,000, their SBA guarantee fee would actually be waived. So in lieu of the Patriot Express program, which we had previously, this is a more direct and tangible benefit to the veteran-owned business.
And as you all, if you have questions, feel free to come to the mic to ask your questions. And so while we're on the topic of money and finance, because we often hear about different organizations or banks, regional commercial banks that have SBA loans. Now, that's not guaranteed money, is it? Or how does the whole SBA loan piece work?
Sure. The SBA guarantee, obviously the SBA does not make any loans directly. You wouldn't apply for a loan directly at your SBA district office. Rather, the district office, we're here as a resource for the community as well as with our lending community. The SBA guarantee product is a way for lenders to be more flexible with their lending products. It's a way to kind of free up the different channels of capital to allow lenders to look at businesses that they might have not otherwise looked at. For instance, a lot of the scenarios in which an SBA guarantee would be required is if it's a startup business, if you don't have adequate equity injection into the business, or if you don't have adequate collateral required. In those scenarios, you might have a really strong business plan, but there's that one key element of the overall project that is going to require an SBA-backed guarantee. So the SBA is not there to encourage lenders to do bad loans or to give loans to companies that are risky, but it's to the ones where they're kind of borderline and the lender just doesn't really want to take the risk on their own. In those situations, the SBA will come in and they'll provide the guarantee. Our guarantees are generally between 75 and 85%. So the lender, as opposed to taking 100% risk, is only going to take a 25 or 15% risk. So it's really there to stimulate the economy in terms of its support for small business, which is a critical element of the U.S. economy. So, and I think the best quote for that is the SBA loan is not going to make a bad loan good, but it's going to make a good loan possible. It's kind of what most of our lenders live by.
And so the lending process, or the type of loan that you just described, does it require that I be in the 8A program, or I just need to be a small business?
Yeah, they're two separate things. The SBA lending program versus the 8A program. To qualify for an SBA guaranteed loan, you have to be a for-profit business. You have to be a small business, depending upon what your industry and your NAICS code designates, and it has to be an eligible business use, and it has to be an eligible business. So it can't be a business of illegal or have illegal activity or be of an illegal nature. So as long as you fit those criteria and your loan request is something that falls within SBA's guidelines of what is and isn't eligible, you should be able to apply for an SBA loan.
And so is there separate lending opportunities if I then also have the 8A designation, or I would still fall in that same bucket of lending to be considered for qualification?
Yes, you would.
Okay.
Yeah, there wouldn't be
Gotcha.
a different designation, but we do have specific products geared specifically towards government contracting and
Okay.
businesses in the procurement industries.
Gotcha. Okay, beautiful. Question?
Yes, Ed Simon, owner, founder, Vicar Innovative Systems and Solutions. It's quite known today that banks, credit unions still have very cold feet when it comes to lending, certainly after the financial collapse. What I would like to know what I would like to know is what type of incentives, because let's face it, the topic is leveraging SBA resources to grow your small business. But what if you are a startup business, as you indicated, with very little equity infusion into the business, but you have an excellent business plan, you have an excellent idea, you've done all your market analysis, and so from your business plan perspective, it seemed like this would be a viable venture.
Yeah.
But the banks still have cold feet. They aren't lending, okay? Regardless of how marketable the idea is or how sound the business plan is. So what I would like to know, what is the SBA doing to provide incentives to the banks, to the credit union, to spur lending to small startups who have great idea for growth and development, or to existing companies that want to grow and develop? Because I can tell you, they aren't lending. That's the bottom line. I mean, that's the reality.
Yeah.
The programs are there,
Yeah.
as you indicated in the SBA, that allow banks, okay, and SBA will underwrite up to 75%, but the credit unions and the banks are not taking any risks at all. Not the 25%, not even 10%. They aren't lending any capital. So could you address that, please?
I'm assuming you've tried to apply for a loan already
Oh, yes.
a couple times. So
Oh, yes.
within our district region, within the DC metro area, their SBA pretty much works with 98% of the lenders. There might be a few lenders that don't offer the SBA guarantee program. So we have, a few hundred lenders for you to call. This is where the SBA district office comes into play. If you come into the district office and you have a really unique business or you operate within a unique industry, if you call 50 of those lenders, they're probably not going to understand your business plan, or they're not going to be willing to take the risk. And there is a diversity within the lending market. So you call your lender relations specialist, and what I can do is see which lenders have been the most active within your respective industry, within your respective field. And we do have an established relationship with some of these lenders, so I can hopefully try to provide whatever resources possible to at least have the lender take a second look at your business plan. And the second thing that you mentioned is, if you are a startup business with not as much collateral, you want to have exactly those elements that you mentioned in place. Because if you have one of the key pieces of the overall lending deal that's going to be a little bit weak, be it collateral, be it your equity injection, be it credit might not be so great, you want to make sure that the rest of that package is going to be as strong as possible. So making sure you've done your market analysis, being able to demonstrate to your lender that you have extensive and adequate experience within your field and within the industry that you're applying for the loan for, those are going to be key elements.
So is it, just to piggyback on what you're saying, so then is it building that relationship with the district office so that the district office can do, I don't want to say advocate on your behalf, but to help you to build the relationship with the different lenders in order to then market or sell or promote your idea so that it becomes, let's say, credit worthy, for lack of a better definition?
I would say it's utilizing the the SBA, utilizing the lender relations specialist, myself, as well as our wonderful resource partners, because I think they understand exactly what the SBA loan product is, but moreover, they're going to help you really assess, okay, how is a lender going to kind of approach this? Is this a strong business? Is this a viable business? All the key things that most lenders are going to look at. So definitely utilizing those resources. We are free resources for you. You don't have to call 300 banks. Hopefully you can only call 4 or 5. And if that doesn't work out, then we can try to see what other options are available for you. But definitely taking that initiative to be able to contact your local SBA district office.
If someone had said to me 5 years ago that 20% of my business today would be exporting ice cream to China, I would have said, "You've got to be crazy. Bassett's ice cream in China? How is that going to happen?" You see, my family has been in the ice cream business for a very long time. In fact, over 150 years ago, my great-great-grandfather, Louis Dubois Bassett, pioneered our family business from the backyard of his Salem, New Jersey farm. He had a vision that began with the power of one humble, hard-working mule. L.D. Bassett, as he is known today, made his living as a school teacher, but he had a passion for innovation and delicious ice cream. He would have been proud to know that the product that he invented is now being enjoyed by millions more outside the United States, more specifically in China. Yes, it's true. In 2008, Bassett's ice cream was uniquely positioned to make the global leap. My family's great American ice cream would soon be enjoyed by people on the distant shores of China. And while the opportunity was there, I had so many questions. I needed a guide, or at the very least, a roadmap. The Small Business Administration and the guidance of our local SBA District International Trade Officer helped pave the way. The SBA proved to be our roadmap, providing one-on-one advice as well as referrals and introductions to other valuable government resources and programs. Among the organizations our SBA International Trade Officer introduced us to were the Export-Import Bank, which provides us with low-cost credit insurance for our foreign accounts receivable. Our Regional Small Business Development Center, funded in part by the SBA, which assists us with research and special projects. The U.S. Commercial Services Export Assistance Center, which has provided advice and introductions to U.S. government representatives in China. And Food Export USA's Branded program, funded by the USDA's Foreign Agricultural Service, which provides matching funds for qualified marketing expenses to promote export sales of U.S. food products. These are just some of the valuable resources the Small Business Administration has introduced us to. As our international sales continue to grow, the SBA offers export-specific financing options as well, including the Export Working Capital Program. The SBA and the various programs outlined here have shown me just how easy and essential it is that we look outside our borders for customers who appreciate a quality American product. If we can do it, so can you. Take the vision of my great-great-grandfather and the powerful image of that one humble, hard-working mule. Use the SBA as your roadmap and increase your market on a global scale. That's my exporting story. Where will your next customer come from?
And so, question for Nicole and Walt. In terms of, I'm a small business owner, I know about these free resources. At what point do I make the distinction of, I call the Women's Business Center as opposed to SCORE? And if I'm a male, can I call the Women's Business Center, or is the Women's Business Center exclusive to women businesses?
Right. Well, I touched on it just a little bit earlier when I talked about the difference between a business counselor and a business mentor. Like I said, specifically with the SCORE counselors or the SCORE mentors, they often have industry expertise that a business counselor might not be able to provide. However, business counselors will walk you through a lot of the general business pieces, specifically business planning. And Ed, I would like to talk to you. And we do actually help gentlemen. The Women's Business Center is a resource for all citizens of the United States of America because we receive funding from the U.S. or from the Small Business Administration, from the SBA. So because of that, it opens up, that particular piece opens us up to working with all people. We do focus on women, however, in that we work around the life of a woman. We're trying to help women in particular transition from the traditional roles of women into that CEO status, which is a very particular issue for women, and we work on it in a softer way, I suppose. For example, a woman may be dealing with things that are much different than a man would have to deal with, and therefore we talk about that in counseling as well. Something that affects your life, a pregnancy or childcare may affect your business, and we talk about that alongside your business plan and becoming successful. However, we will definitely talk to SCORE and say, hey, you know, this person has an industry-specific question. I may have a colleague at a small business development center who is an expert in something that I'm not an expert in, and I'll connect you with those people as well. So we definitely work a lot in tandem, and we do help men as well, the brave.
And we help women. We, in addition to the expertise that each of the SCORE mentors has, we all have a general knowledge as well of the various needs and issues that come up. And so we work with, we seek to place you with a mentor who has a knowledge or an expertise in the type of business that you're interested in. But most of the time, we're dealing with questions that are more general in nature rather than more specific as an initial start. One of the things that we found as far as loan financing is concerned is utilizing the small local banks, the small local institutions typically are more interested in and more flexible about providing loans to the community. That's really a driving force for them, and so it does help to look at some of the smaller institutions rather than at the really large household name banks. Likewise, there are specific loan packages for particular organizations. The Latino Economic Development Authority provides small loans to startup and small businesses. And again, you do not have to be Latino or Latina in order to qualify for that particular loan, but it was established and created specifically for the Latin community initially.
And so another question, Walt and Nicole, in terms of, because you're sort of having that daily interaction with a lot of business owners, as well as the rest of you, are there typical challenges that you see are coming up, they're sort of recurring in terms of business owners? I mean, we know financing is one of them, but are there certain things that you see that are recurring themes that you're counseling or mentoring people through? And then also, can you provide us with some tips that you may like to share with us that would be helpful to each of us as we go back and sort of take the information that we've learned over the course of this symposium to then integrate into our businesses?
Well, from my point of view, one of the key things, and that I've really focused on and that most of our mentors focus on, is what we call the value proposition. Now, the value proposition is a fancy name for what is your passion. What do you want? How do you want to do it? How does it differ? And how is it better than all of the various competitors that are doing the same thing? So it's kind of an elevator speech, a short scenario of exactly what it is that you want to accomplish. But the value proposition is the hanger on which we put all of the other pieces. If you don't have a passion, if you don't have a clear and explicit understanding of what it is you want to do, then we will help you, we will focus, we will bring you around. And in many cases, we run into situations where someone comes in with a number of different ideas. I'd like to try this, I'd like to try that. And what we try to do there is to focus again on one particular area so that that individual would be able to really succeed in that specific area, maybe utilizing some of the expertise from some of these other ideas, but certainly having one single focus is also critical. Nicole?
I definitely believe that the value proposition is super important as well, but I would say that probably one of the biggest things is that the women who walk through our door at the Maryland Women's Business Center do not lack passion at all. As a matter of fact, they may even have a lot of passion, but not as much business planning behind it. So they come in with the best idea you've ever heard of, but a lack of preparation usually is behind it. And so a lot of what we do is very similar to what Walt was talking about, and that is helping you to take this big passionate thing, I want to help people do stuff, or I want to save the planet, and taking that giant goal, these BHAGs, these big, hairy, audacious goals that you have, and breaking them down into manageable pieces so that you can actually see the path from now until the actual accomplishment of that goal. And we work backwards, right? And this is the tip. You work backwards from the goal. So if you say, I want to make $100,000 in the next 2 years, well, how many customers do you have to see to do that? How much do you have to price your product or service? Times how many customers are you seeing? And we literally break it down into formulas like that. A lot of times when you are thinking about this giant goal that you have, it becomes overwhelming to break it down into those pieces. And that's what we're here for. We know business planning inside and out and backwards. And so we can see where the holes are and we help you to fill them in. So one other thing that we do see is the financing, and the Women's Business Center at Maryland here has, also I encourage you guys to talk about business plan competitions. So business planning, once you get your business plan set up and ready to go, business plan competitions are a way to actually access that financing. It's not even financing, it's just money to use for your business. So business planning is great for loans, but then once you have a business plan that's completed, you just brush it up every time you see a business plan competition available. And so outside there is a Start Right competition flyer, so I encourage you guys to go see that.
I just want a quick question. My name is Gil Branco. I'm the Director of Human Entrepreneurs Program. You mentioned about the business plan competition. I think they are great. However, everywhere a lot of organizations are offering, how can people protect themselves from legit ones so that those competition didn't set up that people will gather what is out there and the ideas from individuals? What would you suggest that individuals, by submitting their business plan, that they can protect for their idea or whatever the business plan they have?
That's actually a great point. A lot of my clients come to me and talk to me about intellectual property and protecting my idea. And they're very guarded about it. So the first thing that you would have to do is make sure that your business plan is very solid, and that you actually do plan to start being in business very soon. You don't want to have your idea just sitting there and floating around. Otherwise, what will happen to you is what happened to my mother with the Snuggie. She was completely surprised that somebody invented the Snuggie. She said, that's my idea. But she never wrote a business plan for it. She never took action on it. So that's one big thing with your intellectual property, just to be proactive about it. Another thing is that business plan competitions that may seem sketchy probably are. If they're not sponsored by someone who is a reputable organization that helps businesses in the area, take that as a warning sign. And then finally, if you do have if you're kind of on the fence about it, or if you have questions about protecting your intellectual property, talk to a business counselor. And we can help kind of fish that out, or we'll even sometimes go with you and get to know what it is that you're looking at, as far as a pitch or something like that, where you feel like somebody might be trying to take advantage of you.
And in that same vein, we, both the Women's Business Centers and SCORE and the other resource partners, sign an agreement each year that says we, number one, cannot benefit financially or otherwise from any of the businesses that we are mentoring, and number two, that we will not share nor provide any information pertaining to any specific business. So we ourselves are precluded from helping we help Bill Gates, but we can't take advantage of it, basically is what it comes down to.
The odds of becoming a successful NASCAR driver, 1 in 125 billion. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism, 1 in 88. I'm Jamie McMurray. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
So Nicole, I know Walt described the process for identifying a resource inside of SCORE. How would someone go about connecting with you, or are you the only counselor here? Because you're based in Rockville, or where are you based?
Yes.
So how would someone go about working with you? Would it be visiting a website or calling the office or all of the above?
All of the above. So Rockville is one of the offices that the Maryland Women's Business Center has. We also have an office currently in Bowie, Maryland, and that's at the Bowie-Bick Center. So if you are in Prince George's County, I definitely encourage you to go through that. The website will give you both addresses and both phone numbers, and it is marylandwbc.org. So marylandwbc.org. And that will give you access to all of those. We're also opening up in Frederick and Howard County very soon. Well, actually, we have people in place to kind of set that up. So we have plenty of counselors and lots of places to counsel. We also are mobile. So if you need a site visit, for example, child care centers oftentimes say, hey, I'd like to show you my pitch. All right, so that's very on-site, right? You want to show a prospective parent all of the different stations of your child care center. That often requires being on-site. So if you want us to go on-site and take a look, then we're willing to do that as well.
And Walt, what about the SCORE mentors? Are they mobile as well? Or I know you're DC SCORE, but is there Montgomery County? Are there resources in Montgomery County? Or where do your customers or clients, if you will, meet with you?
Well, we have offices in Rockville at the Rockville Library. We have offices in Wheaton, in Prince George's, in Fairfax and Falls Church, as well as in Loudoun County. So we have locations in the greater metropolitan area. Typically, the satellite offices, other than the DC offices, are hosted by 1 or 2 people, and they have a particular day of the week in which they volunteer. So when you call a satellite office, you'll probably be directed to choose one of the specific days in which the mentor will actually be in that location. A lot of our mentors also spend a lot of times at Panera or at Starbucks, not necessarily because we love coffee, although that's not a bad deal, but we want to travel and make it easily accessible. Once we've established a mentor-client relationship, after the initial meetings and what have you, we are happy to go wherever the person is or wherever the person would like to meet in order to facilitate the process.
And then how long is that relationship in both cases? Is it, when you think of 8A and the 9 years and graduation, what does the evolution of the relationship, if working with Walt or with Nicole, what does that look like? How long is that timeline?
Well, Walt's already mentioned a client that he's had for 8 or 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that we counselors like to describe it is that we are walking alongside your business. So imagine you need to just duck in for a quick question. You can give me a call if you haven't met me in person for 2 years. That's totally fine. You can call a colleague of mine. You can always access the Women's Business Center at any stage of your business. Typically, after businesses move into medium size or large size, where you've kind of graduated out of being small, typically that's where the relationship will fall off. And that's natural because we're a small business resource center.
Right.
So.
Gotcha.
And the same with SCORE, as Nicole indicated. I've had one client that calls maybe once or twice a year that I've had over an 8-year period. There is no time limit. Only the only limitation is as the organization grows. So, and we're not just looking at startup businesses, we're looking at existing businesses that are looking for help or assistance as well. So if you're in business and you have some questions, call on either Nicole or SCORE, and we certainly can help you sort through some of those issues.
Beautiful. Any questions, feel free to come up to the microphone and we'd be happy to field them for you. You all, Shuraie, everyone basically mentioned the importance, the relevance of having sound financials, particularly if you're looking to get some lending as a part of your business. In your estimation, like, what's the best time to move from sort of that small business mentality of I'm going to do everything manually and I've got my check register here, to having an automated process, or maybe even outsourcing that all together? I'd imagine at some point there's maybe this litmus or a checklist of things that we as small business owners should be thinking of it, because of course we're working on limited resources, so we're wondering, okay, should we pay someone to do our bookkeeping? Should we keep it in-house? Should it be manual? Should it be automated? Sort of what's your general guidance around accounting and bookkeeping?
I'll start with that question. Great question. One thing that I normally see with the 8A program is we do not force you to go and use outside CPAs. However, as you start growing and based on the revenue that you generate every year, we ask you to. For instance, if your revenue generated for, let's say, for your program year, let's say this program year is over $2 million, we're looking for reviewed financials. And so if you do not have an in-house CPA, you need to go out and find a CPA. And if you have over 10 million, we're asking for audited financials. That is one issue that we normally run into, because the 8A participants are saying they're small and they do not have the revenues for that. And as their business opportunity specialist, I'm saying, well, you know what? You should have something there breaking down for incidentals in case, and you should have that. But however, we do have, we're a fair program. We try to assist you with everything. We do have waivers. So if you're not able to submit reviewed or financial statements, we'll work with you. These are cases by cases where you come to us and say you can't really afford them, but we're basically saying that you do, because as you grow, you want somebody to reconcile your financials. You don't want to keep going and saying you're doing these financials in-house. That's just the 8A perspective. Not sure what Nicole and Walt normally see on a regular basis, but this is what we would like for you to do as you grow. You will want a CPA to reconcile for your business.
I would also say you can only bootstrap for so long. Bootstrapping is absolutely wonderful. It is the way that many, many, many businesses, including my own business, I actually own my own business, we bootstrap, we do it ourselves. We take accounting classes and we try to figure it out. And it's noble and worthy to take time to do that, because while having a CPA or having an accountant work for your company and review your financials and help you, you also want to be on, that person works for you. So if you don't understand your own financials and you don't know at least how it's done, more or less, maybe you may not put the debit and the credit always in the right line, which is why you hire somebody to help you. At least you know the general purpose of a profit and loss statement. You know the general purpose of your balance sheet. You're looking at those statements often and regularly. You can't continually, for the life of your business, have all of those things be something that you're doing. We talk a lot at the Women's Business Center about working in your business versus working on your business. And one of those pieces is that when you're working in your business, you're baking the pies and doing the accounting and doing the sales and doing all the purchasing, and for a short amount of time that will work. And that's when you talk to your business counselor and you say it's not working anymore. And then we decide what your first hire is. You decide what your first hire is, but we help you to make that decision. Okay? And then what your second hire is going to be, and putting those job descriptions together and figuring out who you need to be on your team so that you can build an effective business.
And one of the things that, because we're working all the time with small businesses, we have a knowledge of organizations, lawyers, CPAs, insurance people, marketing people who are focused on and used to working with small businesses, and therefore their fees and their costs are going to be more in line with what you can afford versus the really large organizations that are going to charge an excessive amount. So we recommend, as Nicole mentioned, we recommend utilizing outside assistance, lawyers, accountants, particularly those, and insurance people. But we also strongly recommend that you utilize consultants and subcontractors in lieu of hiring people initially, because it's much easier in the event of a problem for you to terminate a contract with a subcontractor or a consultant than it is to fire someone. So bootstrapping is critical, but there are times and there are areas where you really need to have the expertise.
Awesome. And with that in mind, I just want to thank you all for joining us today. Your insight, your expertise has been priceless, and so thank you again for taking time out of your day. And this concludes this particular session on growing your business using SBA resources. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Kelly.